Hello, everyone. Welcome to the AI and Virtual World Room. My name is Nicole, and I'm going to be the host for today's session. I would like to begin by gratefully acknowledging that Science World is located on the traditional and unceded territory of the Musqueam, the Squamish, and the Tsleil-Waututh Nations. We will start today with a quick introduction from our amazing group of mentors, followed by a hosted discussion. If you have any questions for the mentors, please feel free to put those in the chat at any time. Our technician today is Dawn, who will be monitoring the chat. If you have any technical issues, she'd be more than happy to assist. We do ask that you keep comments in the chat and questions section respectful and relevant to the topics being discussed. All right, so now it's time to meet our mentors. Wonderful. So we are going to go around and I'm going to ask each of you to introduce yourself, tell us your job title and something that you love about your job. So Ghazal, you're right next to me. How about you go first?
Thank you, Nicole. Hello, everyone. I'm Ghazal. I'm a master's student at SFU, and I also work as a research assistant at university. And my work focuses on using artificial intelligence to predict the future conversion to Alzheimer's disease. So I basically use technology to solve a medical problem.
Wonderful. Thank you. Olivia, tell us about yourself and your job.
Hi, everyone. Very happy to be here. As Nicole mentioned, my name is Olivia. I am a co-founder of a company called Sanctuary AI, and Sanctuary is on a mission to create the world's first human-like intelligence in general purpose robots. My favorite thing about my work is the type and number of people that I get to interact with and learn from day to day. Always learning, and a very nice nexus of different types of fields coming together: AI, robotics, and cognition.
Awesome. Thank you. And Liz, tell us about your job.
Hey everyone, my name is Liz. I'm a product designer in a company called Virtual. And what we do there, we create virtual humans in virtual reality. So you can go there and talk with them. So we can apply this for many things like learning languages or practicing. So maybe some training experiences. So, for example, if you have a dangerous job, instead of going to practice in a very dangerous field and something can happen to you, we do everything virtual so you are safe and you have fun. Interesting about my job is in this company, especially, like I work with many different kind of people, like language professionals and developers and 3D artists. This is super exciting.
Awesome. Thank you. Well, welcome to our discussion today. So at this time, we will open up the discussion to any questions that you have for our mentors. Please feel free to put those in the chat and we can ask them. Let's get started by let's think back to 14-year-old selves. Okay. Can you maybe start us off with some advice that you would give to your 14-year-old self to get started in this career that you're working in? Olivia, your smile looked the biggest, so you get to go first.
I was like, what grade was I in? I think
9.
I was in grade 8. Yeah, okay, grade 9.
Grade 8, grade 9.
Let's see, in terms of advice, my favorite thing to share with folks is, when you're 14, you might not know what you want to do. So how can you get access to this huge opportunity landscape? Become familiar with all sorts of different jobs and industries so that you can make some exciting decisions about where you want to take your career in the future. And getting experience in different types of industries and different types of areas could look like taking on cool projects. You might be building something like DIY. You might be interviewing people that you find really interesting and ask them about their jobs. You might be taking classes. You might be doing some formal education in that space. But all of those things help you build that big landscape that then you get to choose from. And you don't just need to choose one.
Love it. Awesome. Liz, what advice would you give to 14-year-old you?
Yeah, I will say the same. When you are 14, you feel like you have to start to take some decisions, and it feels like so overwhelming that I don't know really what I want. So yeah, I will say just try things. For example, for me, I was always very techy. I like computers, and I started to take some courses. By the time I started to do that, there were not so many resources out there. But right now, you can go. There are many tools that you don't need any coding experience, or you don't need to be like super spectacular in math or anything. They are super easy to use, and you can experiment with artificial intelligence. You can train things. So go out there on internet, and there are some tools you can use for training yourself.
Awesome. Thanks. And Gazal, what about your advice to 14-year-old you?
Yeah, I guess I agree with both Olivia and Liz. I would say be curious. Just ask questions. Go explore different things. There's so many things available for you right now. So many different resources that you can just try one of them. Go one at a time or go like more than one at a time. Just try, see if you like it or not. Then you'll know this is for you or this is not for you. Then move on to the next and to the next. And finally, you'll have a great pool of experience to choose from at the end.
Awesome. So let's talk about these paths that you took. We're all talking about being curious, trying out new things. I want to hear about what you tried to get to where you are today. So, what was the path you took to get into your current position? Liz.
Yeah, I had a very long story because I studied in university computer science, and I really liked coding. I really liked what I was doing, but in some point I say, okay, maybe I want something different. So I started to think like what I like about my career or the IT industry in general. What I like we are creating things, we are creating the future. We are creating amazing things that people are using, and that was like very exciting to me. But at the same time, I didn't want to be always maybe behind the computer and not have this power of taking more decisions of what things we are building. So then I discovered this career that is UX design, this user experience designer. And my position now is product designer. So what we do normally is uh, before something is created by developers, we think of what we need to do. How can we do something to help people, to help them to think faster or just expands their capabilities. So I realized that being in the design part of this job made me gave me more power to take those decisions. So it was this exploration. I think I at the beginning I decided computer science because I like computers. Many people feel like, oh, you have to like games and be a gamer and to go to no, that's not right. It's not like that. So I think that first step was super important because I came to this industry, and then in the way you start to realize where you can go, especially here in Canada. I think there is a lot of space and room to change career. People really get very excited when you are changing career, so you don't need to take a super good decision at the beginning. Just try to start with what you feel you like, and then you can easily move to other careers too.
Awesome. I love that. Olivia, let's hear about your path.
I, like Liz, liked computers, liked coding. I did my undergrad. Well, let me see. When I was in high school, I loved English literature, and I thought I was going to go to business school. And I made a decision closer to university to do engineering. And so I did an undergrad in computer engineering, specializing in biomed. Worked in enterprise software, so developing and implementing enterprise software for companies in the energy industry. Did a master's in computer and electrical engineering, and throughout scattered in a few other things like international travel, doing my yoga teacher training and my sommelier certification. So I was all over. I like a lot of different types of things. But ultimately, it really gave me some perspective about it doesn't just need to be one of those routes. You can bring together many of the aspects of the things that you like from all of these different areas and bring them into your day-to-day. You can really enjoy your work. And ultimately, that's what brought me to Sanctuary.
Awesome. Thanks. Gazal, let's hear about your path to where you are.
Let me see. When I was in high school, I was fascinated by architecture. Just like I was looking at buildings, I was like, wow, I really want to do that. But then I'm not sure how it happened, but I ended up doing electrical engineering for my undergrad. And that was when I realized my love for technology. I really knew that I love technology and I do want to code to build things like that. So I guess it's basically kind of a similar idea of building things, but at a different concept. After that, for my master's, I decided that I want to do something that is closer to people, something that has a more direct impact on people. So when I was investigating what do I want to do for my master's, I came across this field, this professor that was doing research on Alzheimer's disease. And it felt close to my heart because I had relatives who experienced Alzheimer's disease. And then I could get the chance to apply technology to solve a medical problem that is close to my heart. So, yeah, that was how I got here. And now I basically get to combine my love for technology and helping people by doing what I'm doing right now.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. And so let's think about some skills that helped you get to where you are. So we've kind of talked about that path. Were there any skills that really stood out that you found you drew on a lot that really helped you power through to get to where you are today? No, I'm looking at everybody's faces. Liz, you look so pumped to answer.
Yeah, this is something interesting. Like I discovered since I was a child, actually, like from forever. I really like to observe people. Like I was a very quiet child always, and I always try to understand why people have problems or why they are laughing or why they like this and all that. Then when I took my career in software engineer, I think I didn't develop that too much. I think because it was mainly me and the computers. But then after I quit my job as a software engineer, and then I traveled for 2 years around the world. So that was a very nice experience. And I realized why I like travel that much. I didn't have any plan. It was not like a tourist. I was actually living in different countries. I really like to talk with people and understand what moves them, what their objectives in life, why they have this political or this problem and they are complaining about things. So I really enjoy listening to people and discovering those little things that even they don't know they have. So most of the job I do as a product designer or UX designer is to talk with people to understand what they need. So I think that skill is something that it makes me happy. I'm very good at that, and I even want to be like a psychologist or something like that because there's too many problems. I get too involved with people, so I find a way to apply that thing I like in the job I'm doing now. So I think that's very important. That
Awesome.
curiosity.
Yeah, fantastic. I'm going to switch up the order a little bit. Gazelle, what kind of skills help you to get to where you are?
I guess it would be the openness to learning new things. Because every day we are faced with so many new things that we had no idea about yesterday. And then it might be hard to be open to them and try to learn without, I don't know, prejudice. Yeah, I guess the ability to be open to learning new things every day would be the greatest skill that helped me.
Awesome. Thank you. And Olivia, what skills helped you out along the way?
This is a very interesting question. I mentioned this in the advice for my 14-year-old self, but in regards to building things, which is, taking information that you might be getting in school, getting off the web, and applying it so that you really grok not just the theory of the thing, but how to make something in the world with it. And, you know, this might be developing your own web page, developing your own app, whatever it may be that allows you to take what you've heard and what you've read and apply it into something real that then you can take into a job or build your own projects around. That is a really important skill to be able to do, that jump. And then Liz touched on this, but I wanted to mention it as well. Communication is such an important aspect of all the work that we do, whether you're very, very technical or you're customer facing or, you know, whatever it may be. Being able to understand the person that you're talking to and the types of information that they're interested in, with whatever goal they have in mind, and then being able to synthesize the information that you've got to share with them so it's really effective, they get what they need, and there's clarity on both sides. Highly advocate for practicing communication skills in that regard.
Awesome. And I kind of want to touch a little bit on some of the things that you all said here. So we mentioned like learning something new and taking some information and applying it, communicating those things. Do you have any maybe resources or suggestions of things to try out to work on these skills that will help you out in an AI field? So I'm going to bounce that back to you, Olivia, because you're kind of touching on those that idea of applying that knowledge. Do you have any like resources or things you suggest looking at?
Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, in terms of building things, I love just getting on the web and searching for what other people are building in this space. You get some really cool inspiration for projects that then you can take on in a similar vein if it's something that interests you. And, you know, oftentimes folks will have some guidelines to help you out if you're not sure how to get started. There's some more formal platforms, like education platforms, that can help push you in this direction as well. But generally, just, you know, YouTube, check out some videos, see what other people are doing. It'll get you started, and then you can go a little bit deeper. In regards to communication, lots of resources on that front. As a student, your school might have something like a debate club or an opportunity to do public speaking. And that's the type of thing that might get you started. So you get comfortable standing in front of people, you get comfortable taking your ideas and synthesizing them into something that you can share with an audience or with another individual. And you make good friends as well doing that.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Resources, Ghazal, do you have any resources you would suggest? Things to try?
I would say the same. Again, be curious. There's like this huge world of internet that you can go and search for whatever you think you're curious about and you think you want to know. There's YouTube, there's TED Talks. AI is a really fast growing industry, so you can like check the latest news on the industry. Again, as Olivia said, there are so many educational websites, Coursera, so many other ones. Yeah, just like, yeah, literally use internet. Search, Google, YouTube, TED Talks, yeah, all these resources.
Awesome, yeah. And Liz?
Yeah, I forgot to send my links to share in this session, but I just put it here. Maybe someone can put it in the chat on YouTube. But one of the things you can do is there is some free tools you can use. One is cospaces.io. You can create virtual reality worlds there, and it's super easy to do. You don't need any previous experience. They have a lot of tutorials, and you can actually do augmented reality experiences. So you can use your phone, create something, and then you will see it, you know, in your room and all that. So it's quite cool. So tools like these there are many of them on internet. So yeah, be curious, go to Google. That's the main thing you will do when you are in your work. You will go to Google many times per day. So you can start now and try to look for more information.
Awesome. Thank you. And let's talk a little bit about some technical skills that maybe we could start working on right now at age 14, say. There's going to be a lot of programming and coding. Is there a language that you recommend learning right off the bat, something to tackle at this point, like more technically speaking? Olivia, you look ready to answer.
Well, I was just going to say that Python is a really nice language that has lots of available libraries that you can play with. And when I say libraries, I mean people have packaged interesting functionality. Maybe it's, dealing with image data or a math library or something else like this. It handles that for you. So then you can plug all these pieces together and build something really neat without too much complexity. Yes, I would start with Python. And then if you want to get more technical, you can sort of delve in further from there. But it depends what type of application you're interested in developing. That will really direct the type of learning you'll want to do.
Awesome. Yeah. Liz, what about coding, programming languages that you find relevant to learn now at age 14?
Yeah. The thing about coding is when you learn to code in one language, you can code in any other language because the way of thinking you need for one language is applied for everything. So even probably you will learn something like maybe in 10 years more will disappear and something else will be there. So if you learn coding, you will be set for like a long time because even some things will change, but the core thing is the same. Python is a very good alternative because it's very close to the English language, so you don't need to learn like difficult things. And I will say the same tool I posted before, the CoSpaces. You will learn the logic behind coding first without writing any words. It's like a visual tool, so you can start for something like this if you are a little afraid of intimidated by the other more serious tools.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. And Gazelle, what would you recommend learning?
Yeah, I totally agree with Liz. The most important thing is to learn how to think like a person who can code, and then you can apply that to any language. Again, as everyone said, Python, I guess, would be the most practical. I personally like MATLAB. It's a bit higher level in terms of like it's easier to use than Python. Um, and yeah, but then at the end of the day, you learn how to code. You can just transfer that knowledge to any other language. It's just like it's a matter of putting the semicolon here or don't putting a semicolon there. Or like this function is named something else, but then the rest is the same.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. Okay, so we're talking about AI. This is a rapidly changing field, right? There's a lot going on in this field. I would love to hear from you. What is something that you're just really excited about that could happen in this field in the next 5 years, right? Thinking about how our audience right now could be going into this in, 5-10 years. What is something that you would be excited that they might encounter going into it? I'm going to bounce back to you, Gazelle.
Honestly, I'm excited about everything in AI. But then, if I want to say something close to my field, I really hope that in the next 5 years, we have the ability to automate the disease diagnoses so that like it makes lives a lot easier for so many people. Alzheimer's disease doesn't have a cure right now. Imagine we can automate the diagnosis and we can just like get there, like get to that point, automating it, getting the diagnosis right, then we can find a cure for it. And I think that's really exciting.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you. Olivia, what's something that really excites you about AI in the next 5-10 years?
Well, this might be implicit by the introduction that I made to Sanctuary, but I'm very excited about human-like intelligence. To Gazal's point, if you think about some of these big challenges, curing disease, colonizing other planets, things that, traditionally to address these monumental challenges, it's a function of how many thinkers can we apply to that problem. And if you imagine human-like intelligence being applied to that problem, could speed along the solutions that we come to. So a very interesting way to think about the challenges that we're facing.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. And Liz, what about you?
Yeah, I'm in the combination of two very exciting worlds, that is AI and it's virtual reality. So it's, for me, so fascinated where the thing is going. So everyone now in the IT world is talking about the metaverse, that we will have this new world that you will put your headset on and you will be transferred to another world, and where you will have your house, your money electronically, like everything. So it opens so many opportunities. If we are doing artificial intelligence characters there that you can talk with. Imagine, I don't know, in the future you can have a therapist, like he can give you some advice, or you can talk with someone if you feel alone. Those kind of things, I think opens a lot of opportunities to make the world better, because being in VR is so real. It touches you so close, that I feel like we are going to like a very exciting future now.
Awesome. Yeah. And I just thought about this. I love that you are all in kind of very different branches of AI, right? Like you're all applying it in a different way. So I think that's interesting to see all of your viewpoints on this. And I'm wondering, is there something that maybe really surprised you when you got into the industry, something you weren't quite expecting? Liz, you made the face that says, I want to answer.
I mean, in my job, everything is unexpected because I know. Imagine like in all this internet thing started a long time ago in the 60s, and then I think 1780s started to be uh, uh, more massive, like more people used it. And imagine the people in that time, they had no idea that we will reach the point we are now. Like if we can buy things from our phones, like we can be connected with our families from so far away. So I think we are in that same situation now. Like we even don't understand very well where this is going. We can't even imagine now. So I think that's, I know what is the most exciting things. Like now I'm in this field, I realize, and it's super nice to be in that beginning process.
Awesome. Olivia, what's something that surprised you? Oh, Olivia? Gazal, something that surprised you?
I was thinking.
You're coming
about
back.
surprises.
Okay.
I would say that the thing that surprised me in getting into this field was the siloing that you see across some of these big areas of research and industry. So, robotics is a long time field of research and effort. AI is a long time field of research and effort, but starting to get those waypoints between all of these different areas of knowledge is very interesting and exciting and up and coming.
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah. And Gazal, what's something that surprised you?
I think it would be about the speed of how things going. I'm in the research side of things, and I thought things would be faster. You would like expect it the other way, but like I thought it would be faster, but then it takes a lot of time to get from point A to point B in research. And you have to make sure every step of the way is correct so that you get to the correct outcome that you can benefit the world, the society with. So yeah, I guess that was what surprised me. I thought it would be a lot faster to get to the result, but it wasn't.
Awesome. Yeah. Yeah. You would think maybe like you get very used to the fast results that maybe come when you're in high school, right? Like you're researching something, you find it, you present it in a high school setting, and then you get out into that research setting and you're like, oh, it's maybe not quite the same speed I was expecting. That's a great point. I'd like to touch on maybe some mentors or inspiration that you had along the way. Was there any person that maybe really inspired you to go down the path that you're on, study in this field? Or did you have any particular mentors that really kind of helped direct you down your path? I'm going to let you all think on that. All right, Gazal, you look the most ready to answer. So,
Yeah, I guess the answer would be very recent. I do have a lot of mentor currently. In fact, I'm in this big mentoring circle with about 100 people with different backgrounds, mostly tech. Um, People who are currently in the job industry basically volunteer to help others who are currently in the school find their path, um, tell them how to navigate their uncertainties, how to navigate basically where they're at. And I think that was really helpful. Other than that, I guess back in undergrad, my professors were my mentors. They showed me the way, and that was really helpful. And I'm really thankful for them.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you. Liz, anybody that sticks out along your path?
Yeah, actually, many people, because I changed career and I tried a little some sort of some things. I think many people I can't pinpoint someone special, but when I came to Canada like 5 years ago, I didn't know what to do. So many people really encouraged me to find something I really love to do. And I think all of those people really helped me to kind of calm down, to see like changing career is good. You have to follow your instinct. And I think many people helped me in that transition. And I will say, not the mentor, but I think a big inspiration has been the two founders of the company I'm working right now. They are two amazing women, and they really have a vision of we need to change something. We need to change in terms of the people we are working with. We have a lot of half women, men in the company. We have people with so many cultural background like me, and that diversity, I think, really inspired me to keep going. So it has been so many inspiring people along the way.
Awesome. Thank you. Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about kind of the education specifically. So I am curious, like bachelor's, master's, what does it kind of take to get into this role? Did you do a co-op? Was there anything that maybe helped you out, a course offering in high school, something like that? Can we get specific about our education that we took to get here? Gazal.
I guess the biggest thing was learn how to code.
Mhm.
And then I took this course that was called machine learning. And that is one of the, like, machine learning is one of the sub branches of AI. That's like one of the smart networks that you basically use to make things smart. Um, that's a way to put it, I guess. But yeah, I guess the biggest thing is learn how to code. It doesn't matter where you learn that. It doesn't necessarily need to be at school. You can do a passion project. You can take a course online. But I guess knowing how to code helps a lot.
Awesome. Thanks. Yeah. And Liz, specific education, what do you have?
Yeah, definitely learning how to code, because even if you are not going to work as a developer, it's a super good thing to learn. Just because you will start to think differently, to like very analytical uh, mind, I will say. Um, in my case, I went directly to university to study computer science, and I graduated. And then when I had to change my career, I started with a lot of online courses. There are many of them. And then talk with people, and then they gave me this idea to sign up with a bootcamp, for a bootcamp here in Vancouver. And then I looked for a job. I did a lot of freelance project. I did a lot of volunteering with something related I wanted to do, because I wanted to know what is the everyday work of someone working in design. Um, and yes, if you are interested in coding, there is another organization I am volunteering called Canada Learning Code. We do free workshops for people who is interested in coding. So if you want to take a look, you can maybe start from there.
Awesome. Thanks. And Olivia, do you have any specific education kind of paths you want to touch on to get to where you are?
With the options available in terms of educational platforms these days, there's so many different ways that you can get to a position in a tech company. One thing that I would say is that folks are generally, because going to university and getting that degree is one way to go about it. And if you want to go through a different route, having something like a portfolio of work to show is a really nice thing to demonstrate the types of skills and capabilities that you've developed through this education that you've taken on. So that's one aspect. And the other thing that I was going to say is that you can develop an intuition about AI and use AI tools that allow you to build very interesting things without going into the nitty-gritty of all of the mathematics that underlies it. But it is very nice to understand the math that's going on under the scenes. So for those of you who like math, I would highly recommend doing lots of reading, doing your homework, and maybe learning a little bit more about linear algebra, because there's so many applications for it as you move forward in a career like AI.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. So we probably have time for one more question here. I would love to know, what does a day in the life of you look like at your job? What is a typical work day? I'm going to bounce it back to you, Olivia, for Sanctuary AI. I'm curious.
Interesting. Well, I will not exhaustively go through my day, but I will say that I spend lots of time working with and testing these general purpose robots, and that's usually a highlight. It is very exciting to, as you might have been able to tell from my other answers, it's very exciting to have something like that come into the world. And getting to work with it is one of the features of my day.
Awesome. Yeah. Liz, what about day in the life of you?
I have many meetings, a lot. So mainly all mornings are mainly meetings and very interesting meetings, because I have to sometimes design something and then I have to discuss with someone else. Can you build this? Or do you have any other good ideas? So it's a lot of brainstorming and a creative project. I design things a lot, so I have this program where I draw some screens and put some colors, so it's a lot of kind of more artist, let's say, work too. So yeah, it's a combination between moving in different directions the whole day.
Awesome. Yeah. And Gazal, what is a day in the life of you?
I would say I spent the day researching. That means looking for new things to learn them, apply them, get the results, analyze them, and then do the cycle again. That would be my day.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for all of the fantastic answers and the discussion that we had here today. So we are almost at our final time. So I want to thank all of our viewers as well for joining us today. Again, a big thank you to our wonderful mentors for sharing time and experience with us. We've got some contact information for Gazal that we've just linked here in the chat if you wanted to reach out there. We have more sessions happening on Saturday, so be sure to take a look at those and see if there are any that you want to attend on Saturday. And we will see you then. Again, thank you all so much for watching.